Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trading Live Market Analysis. Just to give you a heads up from me this week, tomorrow evening I'll be going through a webinar on understanding a candlestick chart and identifying candlestick patterns. So going through the basics of charting. That will be tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Sydney time. And on Thursday, more analysis. That will be after the FOMC statement, so we'll see where the market's lying after that event this week. If you want to join me for those webinars, just register your interest at the webinar page on our website, and I look forward to seeing you then. All right, for today, if everybody can read through the disclaimer, those on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch or just follow the link that I've given you and you can join us in the webinar. For those in the webinar, you can talk to me via the chat box or the Q&A box. So just take a moment or two to read through the disclaimer. All right, let's move along. Now, for those that don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at AUDJPY Securities. And I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading in the Forex market nearly for 20 years, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to join me, my email is there on screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. If you want to follow me through the week at our website, go to acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or on our YouTube channel at AUDJPY Securities Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, just head over to my Linktree page and get my links there. Now, if you want to use the charts that I'm using for MT4, then just contact Nathan Bray's emails on screen. Just contact him. He'll be only too happy to set you up. For those in the webinar, I'll just put the details in the chat for you. All right. So let's get into the news items for the week. Now, we've got a very heavy news week this week. It's going to be difficult, I think, to trade in the face of the news items. You're going to need to know what's coming out, and I think wait till they come out, unless you've already got a position that's showing lots of profit and you're just managing your position. If you're looking to open a new one, it's going to be rather difficult until the news items finish. So this evening, red items coming out, 10:30 p.m. We have the Canadian CPI data here, month on month, median CPI year on year, trim CPI year on year, common CPI year on year. So for Canadian crosshairs, it's going to be volatile then. And of course, at the same time, we've got the US core retail sales and retail sales. So these items can definitely drive the market for Canada, and then the US items can drive every currency pair. 4 p.m. into tomorrow afternoon for the pound, we have the CPI year on year, which is going to be important because they've got their interest rate decision on Thursday. So expecting to come in at 2.2%. Into Thursday, 4 o'clock in the morning, this is the big one. Of course, we're expecting a cut. Some participants are suggesting that we're going to get a 50 basis point cut. I don't know, but at the moment we're seeing US dollar weakness, yen strength, although we are getting, at the tops of ranges or at the bottom of ranges, depending on the pair. So it's a little bit difficult. So 4 o'clock in the morning, federal fund rate, FOMC economic projections, FOMC statement, 4:30. Then we have the press conference. So for a good hour there, if not an hour and a half, it's going to be rather volatile, I'm sure. Into 8:45 in the morning for New Zealand, we've got the GDPQQ figures coming in, expecting those to be negative. That can't bode well for New Zealand dollar if it's going to come in but negative. 11:30 the same day for Aussie unemployment change unemployment rates. Expecting same unemployment rate, maybe a few less jobs. Then at 9 p.m., as I was saying before, the pound CPI data Wednesday, 9 p.m. on Thursday, we've got the monetary policy summary, official bank rate votes, official bank rate for the UK. I'm not expecting a change, but you never know if CPI improves. I mean, 2.2% is pretty low year on year. I don't know why they're keeping interest rates at 5. You would think they can maybe afford to tick it down. So we'll have to wait and see. Then at 10:30, we're for the US unemployment claims. Into Friday, the next big one for the market will be the BOJ policy rates, monetary policy statement, BOJ press conference. So that's usually at 1:30 my time, Queensland time, New South Wales time. Usually quite volatile these days, the release. So it's difficult at the moment, maybe taking a positional play on a Japanese yen pair because of that on Friday. 4 p.m. further data for the UK, pound, retail sales. And then 10:15 p.m. Canada's BOC Governor Malcolm speaks. And 10:30 p.m. for Canada, we've got retail sales, core retail sales, okay? So a few big items coming out, predominantly focusing on the FOMC statement. I'm sure the market is this week, but other monetary policy statements from the UK and the Bank of Japan. And also Canadian CPI data here, which will definitely affect the dollar CAD this evening, I'm sure. All right, let's get into, first of all, a look at the dollar index. Now, we are just, at the moment, if I go to my monthly chart, we're at support. We're 1 or 2 ticks below here at 100.3. But this is clear support. So even if we're trading below it a few ticks or a few points, whatever you want to call it, we're at support. I mean, this isn't where I would sell, because even though you're a little bit underneath support can come in just underneath and we can move back up. So what we need to understand is that we're at the bottom of the range here at the moment. And the market's obviously been selling down, but it's selling down the expectation of what the FMC is bringing. Once that comes, is there any more selling? Yes, we could move down to 99.20, but be aware that this is support in this area. So if we start to see price moving back above 130 this week, after the FOMC, we could be moving all the way back up the range. So all I know at the moment is, yes, the US dollar is selling down. It's trying to break this monthly low point from back at the end of December. But just because we're below it right now, where do we finish tomorrow, or where do we finish close FOMC? That's going to be the more important thing, okay? Has been, for a good, what has it been? $14 days, 2 weeks or so. A bit more than 2 weeks, nearly 3 weeks here. We've been kind of holding here. So are we breaking down through, or do we see a snapback? That's what we need to start to watch for. If we see a snapback up, pairs to the US dollar, as they're approaching the tops of their ranges, we'll maybe hold to move back down. Or, of course, if this breaks through, we're moving higher on the pairs to the US dollar, okay? Now, the S&P 500 has moved right back up to the tops. And it's a challenge at the moment. If you want to buy it, you're buying at the tops, aren't you? So if you want to be a buyer, I would look for some kind of decline, another higher, a higher bottom to form. If you want to be a seller, because that's the all-time high, then we form this area here. We could form a double top here, or we could break above. At the moment, I'd just be inclined to wait to see how today sits. Or more importantly, well, if we get a reversal day today, we still have time to get short if that's what you want to do ahead of FOMC. Difficult just to take a position if right in front of the FOMC, I think, because 50 basis point cut could see this blow straight above here, a 25 basis point cut, and maybe a slightly dovish tone from the Fed might see this decline. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, you could be looking on the 4-hour chart for start of a reversal up, big consolidation, decline, back to the area where the bulls and the bears were battling out before this decline occurred. So this is high priced at the moment. If you start to see a 4-hour rejection up here, maybe we're going to at least move down the range leading into FMC. All right, let's get into euro dollar now. We're at a significant resistance level at the moment. Now, let's talk about some of these pairs at the moment and got a mix of trends. The day chart is still down on the euro dollar. All right, we can see it here. It's gone down, rally, down. Now the day chart doesn't turn up until we take this top out. And when I say take it out, it's going to move, trade through convincingly, and then an uptrend to start would then mean we'd have to decline to put a higher bottom in and then move up. So at the moment we're very high up here, and it isn't where you want to buy. And if you're already long, you can just be at break even. Fingers crossed that we're maybe just going to keep on keeping on, but it's not where you want to be buying at the moment. You need to see a dip and buy the dip. Now the question is, we are still in a downtrend until we take out this top. Now in opposition, and what we're doing here is we're testing this weekly top over here. So if we go to the weekly chart, is in opposition to the day chart that we've been seeing, the weekly trend is remaining up. It's had a 2 or 3 week decline. We're having a week up this week, so we're potentially forming another higher bottom here. But, depending on what comes out this week, we could form a lower top up here. So as the daily is still down, this might just be coming up to want to hold at this top and turn over and put a lower top in on the weekly and not change the day chart trend to up. So the thing to really bear in mind is, where are we at the moment in relation to resistance? There's a major level here, 111.39. The next one's at 112.01. And after that, 112.75. Okay. Now, if all we do today is hold up 111.39 and start to put in a reversal candle, we could simply be, I know we've been moving up for the best part of 3.5 days, but this day chart trend has not turned to up yet. So we could be simply coming all the way up to the top of the range, want to feel weekly resistance up here too. Again, come back down into support. The market has been buying leading into the FMC. Are we going to continue up today, or are we going to hold here? So if you might see a reversal signal here by the close. You'll still have a good time to maybe get short if we start to get short in signal. I know you have to make a decision. Do you want to be in the market when FMC comes out? But let's just break down the time frames as well. That's the weekly high up here, and that's the weekly low. If we come up to this, we could form a double top up here and that daily top. It's about 150. It's 11.54. And 11.58 is a 79% level off that range. So a couple of levels to watch for reversal. This is not where you want to buy. You should have already bought. Now, if you're more bullish, okay, you don't want to be a seller, but you need to look for your buy setup. And that would need to require a dip first of all. All right, so just as we contemplate the whole week, if you want to be a buyer, you want to see price come above this top, then have some form of a dip. And as it starts to put in a higher bottom, that's the time to look on a lower time frame for a buy, okay? So question will be, are we going to see a reversal, or are we just going to keep moving up? All right, so at the moment, we're right on the weekly resistance level. This was the FOMC top, this was the NFP top. So we're really trading within the range of the NFP top down to this low here. All right. Breaking above this NFP top is a bit more suggestive of a longer term move up. So as long as we just tickle that top and the 79% level holds, there's still the possibility that we are going to move back down this range. Now, at the moment, the 4-hour chart's not showing me anything, but if we have an aggressive 4-hour reversal candle, then maybe we want to be starting to move down to a lower time frame to look for a short. At the moment, we just need to be aware where price is within the range. It's at the weekly resistance level, back to the daily. So the weekly resistance level where we did move above, but couldn't hold above and came back below. So this time, are we just going to come up to test today and maybe reverse? 15-minute at the moment isn't showing you anything. We can't redraw. Well, we can draw a trend line. It would have to be from. It's a bit acute, but if we could start to maybe draw in a tight trend line to this resistance level, or if price starts to move back below and you can draw a tighter trend line for a break, all well and good. Or if you are very bearish, you could be selling up here at 1139 with a 100 pip stop if you're very bearish, depending on your philosophy at the moment with the US dollar. All right, so can you see you're set up to sell up here? What would be nice, maybe over the next 12 hours or however many hours it takes, it could be less than 12 hours, is this area here support at the moment. It's around 1114. Is to see this break down, come back up. This area could be resistance, and you sell a rally. All right, now we don't have that at the moment, and the market might not. Maybe the market might not want to reverse strongly down from 1139. But if we started to see price action like that, that would be suggestive of a reversal. All right, so at the moment, we're just at the resistance level. Do you want to start to look for something that's going to suggest a reversal down from that level? All right, so a lot of the pairs to the US dollar are at some form of resistance at the moment. You know, if you're going to trade one to the short side, you'd really want to maybe see them all wanting to trade to the short side, and you'd want to see the dollar index coming back above the 130 level. All right. All right, now euro yen. I've sent these yen pairs that hasn't been easy because this monthly range, this is the Aussie, the euro yen, still holding above this monthly bottom here. And we could be bottoming out down here on weekly support. Weekly chart here. Weekly support, we hit it here. We've been a fraction short to the right side here. There's a little bit of a left shoulder, head, right shoulder maybe here. Are we putting in a bottoming down here? Now the day chart's still down. Did put in a reversal though yesterday. So I'm very much sitting on my hands at the moment on the yen pairs, thinking that they might be bottoming out. But I would like to see the day chart, you know, come up and take out a top. So there's a top, there's a minor top there. Can we take out that minor top? Then come down and put a higher bottom in to really prove the point that we want to start to head up. All right. And with the Bodge Friday coming out, that may not happen before Friday. We'll have to wait and see. But with the Bodge coming out on Friday, and I'll talk again on Thursday when I do my analysis, if we see a rejection down here at 154.42 and the Bodge announces its decision, its policy statement, this could be, you know, this could be the area to start to look for a reversal later in the week. But at the moment, we're very low down here. I'm quite reluctant to be a seller, so low down, but I'm not seeing a reason to be a buyer. 4-hour chart, if you're wanting to trade the swings and you think we can still move down, we've had a 79% retracement on the 4-hour. You could look to see if we could retest 157, 79% level, and look to short up there. Spiked up there early in the day. So, you know, that would be the area to fish for a trade, I think, to the short side today, in line with the day chart trend, if we could get back up there. The 157 level and that 4-hour 79% level. Euro pound. Now the day chart is putting in a higher bottom here to a higher top. We're actually, there's major support down here from the weekly chart. We've had a massive rush up, pull back, and we're starting just to show an uptrend on the daily. It's very choppy I'd personally look at a different pair, but if you want to trade the euro pound, I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart. We're just holding along the 79% level here. I mean, if you're wanting to trade with the trend, you should be longing at the 79% level, 84.22, stop below 84.11. It's only, with the spread, 13, 14 pips risk for trade up the range. And just to prove the point, just to go through all the time frames, the monthly chart, we're actually in a downtrend on the monthly charts, but we're on weekly support, and down here are we forming some kind of inverse head and shoulder pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So in here where it's very choppy at the moment on the daily and on the 4-hour, are we kind of basing here to maybe come back up the range? We have gone up to this 79% level. We're unable to trade through. We're unable to trade through to the 127 extension because it's getting held by a weekly support here and here. So are we basing out here to move back up? All right, so as I've been saying, on the 4-hour, today chart range is, let me just re-find it. There's last week's low and the 79% level there. Last week's low is at 84.17, 84.22, the 79% level. We can see price getting support there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 4-hour candles there at the moment. Just sitting down there. We're going to move up from that level. Certainly when we want to be selling here, we're too close to support. So you either do nothing or are you liking the day chart kind of reversal structure that's starting to form. It's very choppy, but we are putting a higher bottom, higher top, and we're going to put a further higher bottom in to continue up. All right, pound dollar. Same structure on the day chart at the moment as of the euro dollar. We got lower top to lower bottom. Yes, coming all the way back up. Are we going to form a double top? Or we're going to try and change the day chart trend back to up. It's not where I want to buy because I'd want to buy a dip. I'd want to see this move through, come back, and then move up. So, that would be the whole move up. If that's the way price moves, pulls back to put the higher bottom in and then be a buyer. Don't be buying at the top. As we're getting up towards a short-term top of the move at the moment, I would suggest, unless the FMC drives us through. So we could see a reversal up at 132.38. We could form a double top here. We could come up to this high and form a double top at 132.66. And we're just above the 79% level of that range. 132.09 now today. As we get down to lower time frames, when we look at the 15-minute chart, 132 support at the moment, intraday. So if you want to get long and you want to get a tight entry, look at 132 to see if you could do that. Let's just, so the daily's down till we take this top out clearly. The weekly trend remains up. It's putting in another bottom here. We're very high up though, within the range. All right, we are able at the moment to start to want to be above this top 131.42. Big resistance area over here is at 131.68. So we're managing to hold above these two levels at the moment, where we couldn't over the last 3 weeks. So those are two good reference points to look at, 131.40 to 131.68 through the week as FMC comes out. If we get back below those levels, that is probably telling you that we are reversing back down the range. All right, so is the daily going to turn back to up in line with the weekly? Or is it going to be able to hold itself and then move back down once more? Right, so the 4-hour trend's up. This is the NFP high, like I was discussing on the euro dollar. And I've been looking at this morning. There's a resistance area here on the 4-hour. That we're in at the moment. So this whole area here has been, or has proven to be, resistance since we put this top in. All right. So if you see a significant 4-hour reversal form here, that's going to be a little bit suggestive that we're going to move in the short term back down the range. Right, to the 15-minute chart. So here's that 132 level. You can see 3 times we held there today. So if we come back down today, watch 132 to be support at the moment. That's support intraday. So the first thing now, that's support. As long as that holds as support, we're not seeing a real breakdown yet from the top of the range. If we clearly break below 132, then we could see 132 become resistance. But at the moment, you want to look at 132 to be support. So it's already shown you 3 times today. Now, you may have already missed the opportunity to be a buyer there, so high up in the range, but it may come back down at or close to that level later in the day. So that would be the buy side. But if we see a significant break, I actually thought, I was watching it earlier in the day, I actually thought maybe we're starting to top out and move below 132. So I was already starting to think, okay, was this going to break below 132 like so? We were going to come up, and then that could have been an opportunity to get short high up in this range. But no. And the reason why I was thinking that was see this price action here was very choppy yesterday. So everybody's kind of fighting. Buyers themselves are fighting here. At the moment, though, buyers were able to hold 132 today. But seeing that price action over there to the left, I was starting to think maybe we're going to break down, but at the moment, no. All right, so of course you don't want to be buying too high up. Support's coming in at 132 at the moment. Pound yen, go to the monthly. We're getting support at this 79% level of the monthly range. I think that should be there, okay. Spiked below it. This monthly candle is trading down to it, and it's managing to hold just above. It is holding below this monthly area of resistance 186.75. Weekly trends down with a lower top. And are we holding down here on a little bit of day support here at 183.71? It's trapped between day support and monthly resistance at the moment. Overall trend is remaining just down, just. This minor top here, you know, we've come down and it's getting a little bit sideways here. So if we were to break above this top, for me, that would start to emphasize, like we're saying on the euro again, that maybe we're bottoming out down here. Can we then put in a higher top? Can we put in a higher bottom? And then we could maybe start to think about, there's the 79% level of the major range. Are we going to see a long-term move up, back up the range from where we come from? So I'm just watching on the yen pairs at the moment to see if we're bottoming out. We're very low down within the range. When we get to dollar yen, we're actually, folks broke the monthly swing low on the dollar yen at 140.25. So if the dollar yen false breaks that and moves up, these yen pairs are going to follow suit. All right, so I'm just watching at the moment. Are we bottoming out? Day trend is down. And the 4-hour chart, like the euro yen within the 4-hour range, has had a fractional high of 79% retracement just, but are we failing at 79? So we could trade back up to the 79% level once more today. That's at 186.09. You could be selling here, stop above the high, looking for a move down to the 127 extension. 4-hour trend remains down there at the moment. We could also today come up to this area, these lows, or even up to this top, and then hold. So this whole area here, so it's 186.41 up to 186.75. Price coming in, we've already touched that area just, but if we come back up to that area again today, do we hold? Hold, stop at the 127R, trade back down to the bottom. All right, so we are in a downtrend, getting range bound ahead of the bodge in the FMC. Or ahead of the FMC and then the bodge. All right, Aussie yen. The monthly, big spike down to the 79% level. Trend on the monthly still up. We're down this month at the moment. We're holding below these old monthly tops. But the monthly trend is up. And the question is, are we starting to get some support down here? Lots of weekly lows over here to the left. This 93.58 level is the daily level. And we are starting to, on the weekly here, maybe want to come back above the 62 level. So are we heading back up this? I'm going to at least come back up to test these monthly highs to the left. So dailies rather consolidatory. We've got 3 equal highs up here and a higher bottom. So really, for me at the moment, it's tough going the Aussie yen. Which way is it going to go? I'd like to see, like I've been saying on the other yen pairs, we could trade above these 3 tops. We already have a potentially higher bottom here to a higher top. Then can we put in a higher bottom and start to see an uptrend form? Just have a look at the 4-hour. 4 hours. This is the top of the range up here, of course, and we're a bit of a higher bottom area here. So it's a little not very good. It's not very easy on the 4-hour chart. Be a lot better to see. This is the higher bottom on the daily here at the moment. And this is the kind of a lower top area on the daily. Be a lot nicer if we could come up, then come down, start to form an uptrend. Or we continue down, but we see a clear breakout of this consolidation area that we're starting to get ourselves in. All right, so some of the pairs at the moment aren't easy going. All right, so Aussie, is it going to form a double top here, or is it moving up to the next level? So it's well worth watching through the course of the day for a reversal at this level. So that level is at 67.67. Weekly trend is potentially putting in a higher bottom here. We have a higher top just, higher bottom. So are we actually going to be moving long-term up? Or are we going to once more fail at the top of the range here to move back down to the bottom of the range? Very range bound from the higher time frames at the moment, the Aussie dollar. And just from the interest rate differential, even though the US is going to cut its rates from what, 5.5 to 5.25, the Aussie is only at 4. Let me just double check what it is. Aussie's at something like 4.25. Just find the interest rate. Let's go to news. Aussie's at 4.35. Okay, so the interest rate differential favors the US. All right, definitely favors the US in when we look at the euro and the Canadian and the yen and the franc. So even if we cut interest rates in the US, that's still the highest bearing currency for interest. All right. So what I'm trying to get across here is Aussie versus the US dollar. Even if we cut interest rates on the US, and we know the Aussie is maybe not going to cut interest rates this year, we're still lower on the Aussie side than the US. So to me, I don't know if that really bears or gives us any information that we want to think that this is going to go to the moon at the moment, other than maybe stay range bound. Now, depending on the FOMC, as I'm just looking at this weekly chart, which is very range bound, if we come up this week, we take out 67.98 here, we could, see 68.71 this week. And there's some tops over here at 68.95, 68.99. But hopefully you can see that there's a very much a long-term range. See these highs here, here, and here. There's a long-term area up here. That could be a definitely good failure area to keep us in some form of long-term range. All right. So what's going to happen over the next 24 hours? I just want to look at a fib across this range where we sold down from. 79 levels at 67.80. Major resistances there at 67.98. Personally, through the week, I would watch this zone, 67.80 to 67.98, and be aware that's the top of the range at the moment. And don't be surprised to see price come up, maybe up to 68, a little bit above 68. But if we can't hold above 68 this week on any test, is that your opportunity to get short, to trade back down the range? All right. All right, so at the moment, the question for the day is what's happening at this high, 67.66. What I was looking at earlier, there's a bit of an imbalance in here. So we could move above that level in the day. 79% level of the range is right at the top of that imbalance at 67.80. So today, this whole area could be a reversal area. All right. So at the moment, there's nothing going on here to show you a reversal. If you wanted to look for a reversal, a real tight entry on a 50-minute chart reversal, we have no kind of trend line breakup here at the moment. Okay, we do have obviously the US news coming out at 10:30, the retail sales. So depending on what that brings, if we start to see a reversal up there, it's a logical area to expect selling pressure to come in. Now, what happens today leading into FMC could be totally different to what happens at come FMC. All right, so we may see some selling pressure down here over the next 24 hours, but then of course we could move up FOMC or down FOMC. All right, so just at the moment, this is a logical area of resistance. If you start to see a reversal, then do you want to play the reversal? So that's the double top. I'm just going to put a fib across that there because that's the reference. That's the key reference point there is what's happening at 67.66 today. We're trading at that right now. If you're a very bearish Aussie dollar, that could be a good sell on a pip stop to trade back down to the bottom of the range. All right, next, New Zealand yen. Same story. Kind of putting an equal bottom here at the moment. What is the day chart trying to put a bottom in? So going through the time frames, the monthly is up, came down to 79% level. And then we've been coming back into these highs on the monthly chart to the left. Significant high at the moment at 88.16 is the one that we're staying below. It's holding as resistance on the lower times. Weekly, lower top. Daily, we have a lower top here. Two equal bottoms. Four hour, bit range bound. I've been saying on the other pairs to the yen, we've kind of been coming back up to almost, this hasn't quite got to a 79% level, but the other yen pairs have. You know, if the US dollar weakness is going to remain and the yen strength remains, this could just be trying to come up to the 79% level here to move down and through, just being able to hold its downtrend just. Okay. All right. New Zealand dollar. It's a little weaker than the Aussie. It's not coming back up to take out or coming back up to the high in the downtrend. There's the day chart lower top. It's not able to get back above these double tops here and here. So this is the area I discussed last week, 79% level of this range, 62.22. The resistance area is at 62.14 to 21. So that area remains the sell area at the moment. Or it hasn't quite got there. Hasn't touched it, doesn't have to touch it. It's filled that imbalance here. And you could start to watch the 15. Will it come into the up to that area, or are you going to start to see a reversal? So if you can see you're set up for reversal to the downside up here, it's that logical area where we'd expect a reversal to occur. All right, so that current candles get obviously negative. What's the Aussie doing? Aussie's just starting to show you, you know, you could be getting short up here with a 20 pip stop right now and going okay. It's tagged the area, it's tagged the top, selling off at the moment. You know, two pairs to the US dollar that are highly correlated are both selling down at the moment. So are we topping out on those two pairs? So just go back to the daily. You know, is a New Zealand dollar. It might get into that area when the US news comes out, but are we seeing continuation of that day chart downtrend? Nobody knows, but you know, these pairs to the US dollar with the FMC coming out, are we just moving back up, selling the US dollar into the FMC to then want to trade back down? Dollar Canadian. All right, day chart. At the moment, we're holding at this resistance area, but we are starting to show higher bottom, higher top. And last four candles actually are getting support just ahead of the 50% point of the monthly range. So in here. All right. About 135.65 area. Now, going through the time frames, highest time frames up, higher bottom, higher top. Yes, there's lots of tops here to the left, but structurally it's an uptrend. So the 62% retracement of the monthly range here, 62% retracement. And it just came in ahead of weekly support here. It's already had 2 weeks up. I'm inclined to think that this 62% of the monthly range, we could be, that's the monthly range. That's the pullback. Are we going up long term? Monthly trend is up. All right, now to the daily, I'm inclined to think we're going to come up at least fill this imbalance here. Whether we continue all the way up to break above the highs. First level of strong resistance is this weekly top over here at 137.91. So at the moment, moving to the 4-hour chart, 135.64 is support all these lows here. And you can see we're chopping up and below 135.88 at the moment. And we've got the Canadian CPI data coming out this evening. That's going to be the thing that is going to determine are we moving back down or moving up. So it's very difficult when we're having to wait for a major news announcement. But on the 4-hour chart, it's higher bottom, higher top, and we're putting in a further higher bottom here, potentially. So structurally here, it's kind of, unless the news comes out different, this is starting to show it maybe wants to move higher. So to the 15. Yesterday's range. You can see it came down to that 62 level here. It was previous support there. It's been support there, it's been support there. So today, I would watch the CPI news. What happens if we come back down to 62 area here or the 79% area, because it's showing support at the moment. So even if the news comes out and it wants to let the market drop, there's buying going on. We had consolidation in here. Then we broke above, came back to target, went up, came back down to target once more. All right, so I would watch these fib levels for further support today. After the CPI data release, let the market settle and see what the market's telling you. But at the moment, it's telling you there's support along this area here at the moment, around about 135.80. Just not able to commit above 135.88 at the moment. Okay. Dollar franc. Go to the weekly chart. Weekly trend is down, as is the monthly, but we're very low down historically. And at the moment, we're really struggling. 1, 2, 3, 6 weeks here. The low formed on this candle at 84.32 is holding the market. To the upside, this is actually a monthly low here, 85.52 is holding the market. So we're a little bit range bound between these two price points. Weekly trends down, daily trends actually turned to potentially up, higher top here. And you can see this blue candle got good support down on weekly support to push up off. And yesterday and today, we're getting support there. We're not wanting to move below at the moment. So when we get a bit of news volatility late in the day, is this support, this fib area and weekly support. So 84.40 to 84.11. Are we going to see? We've already got the higher bottom. Sorry, we've already got the higher top. Can we form a higher bottom to be moving above 85.52. All right, looks like we're maybe wanting to bottom out here at the moment. Dollar yen. Right, so on the monthly chart, I was discussing this when I was looking at the other yen pairs. This monthly low, we haven't traded below it just, but that's at 140.24.7. I said it was 140.25. Are we going to hold there? Now, the BOJ, FOMC and the BOJ will determine whether that's going to be a key area for support. As well, last year's low, which is down here, to this year's high, major 62% level there. So there's a major support level there at the moment. All right. Weekly trend is down. There's a lower top there. There's another minor lower top there. Now the BOJ news may just push this down and through. But yesterday we rejected 140.24 and closed above. And we've almost traded back down to 140.24 today. So further rejection and support on the lower time frame today at 140.24 is the intraday buying level. All right. Just want to see. There's a very minor top on the 4-hour chart just there that we traded above. Just a minor one. 62 level is at 140.20. Just look at that on the 15-minute chart. So today we can't get down to 140.24 at the moment. So the level to watch if you want to be a buyer on this pair for maybe a reversal up from a major potential long-term support level is 140.24 to 140.20. The 62% level of yesterday's range. Not able to get down there today. You could see it here yesterday. I was watching this. I was umming and ahhing as to whether I should get long here with, FOMC and BOJ, so I decided not to. But see, this impulsive candle came up here yesterday. Then it came down on that candle to your 140.24.7 level to trade up. It hasn't been back down there since. That was actually the area. If you wanted to be a buyer yesterday, right there on that pullback was the time to get wise. All right, so it may offer it later in the day. This level may be very important later in the week when we have the BOJ data come out. Okay, so or we may have already, to get the exact really good price, if we are going long, you may have already missed that price. We'll have to wait and see where it gets retested. Yakuba, I'll look at the pound franc for you in a moment. All right, let's have a look at gold. Now, gold has been getting support on the day chart. From these tops to the left, we consolidated, getting support down here. Now we've broken above, and we've actually broken above the height of the range because we're at the 200% level of this range here. This is the area I was discussing about buying at to trade up. So we would logically now at least get a reaction down to this area, these highs, all these highs in here to be support. All right. So on the 4-hour chart, we dipped down, we've screamed up. I would now watch. Long-term trend is up, so I'm not keen to be shorting gold, but key support now, last month's high, is 2531.64. All right, so this is your key support area. If we come down there this week, that's support for the buyers now to move up. And trying to get rid of my box here, but it doesn't want to. All right. So now I'll draw my fib like so. and see how we retrace back within that range, but I would expect these tops to be support potentially. We could, of course, come down aggressively, spike down to 62% level. If we then close back above 25.31, you look at that level to be support for a move back up. All right. Looks like, it's already starting to show a short. It's breaking the 4-hour support, so you could be shorting, stop above here if you want to be on the short side. But the longer term trend, the higher time frames are up. So I would look for the logical area of support for price to come back to, and then look to the long side. All right, I'll just quickly bring up the pound franc to wrap up. So this monthly is trying to turn up here to a higher top in any event up here, higher point. But the weekly's down, but that looks like that's had a 79% retracement of that monthly range. Down here. Daily. Daily's down at the moment. So we'll go back to the weekly. There's lots of support and resistance in here. See those highs there. So 1156, 1156. That monthly. Whilst I'm saying the monthly is up, the weekly is quite clearly lower top, bottom, lower top in here. And the daily, we have all lower tops and bottoms here at the moment. And as long as we're holding below 1156, say 1158 at the moment, the short side's in play. So just structurally here on the 4-hour chart, if we are a short down from 1156, you'd want to see some form of reversal back below that level on the 4-hour chart at the moment. And then you could look to trade down. Now, at the moment, as I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, it's putting in a little higher bottom here. That's why I think price needs to break back below this area to be a lot more to the short side. At the moment, one thing you could be watching for, if we break back below that 4-hour support low, it's to the downside. But on the day chart, it's rather tight in here. And if we suddenly get a major break like so, then you want to be looking for a higher bottom coming in, and we'll be going back up the range. So if I was looking at any pair, I don't necessarily like this pair because it's very, you can see the choppiness there on the day chart. All right. All right, hopefully that was helpful for you, Cuba. Boji, so how do I day trade or during swing trade? I generally More of my trades are more positional. And what I will often look at, an example would be on the Aussie today, is I look to see whether the market's trending or range bound. And for example, here the Aussie is rather range bound, coming back up to this high at the moment. This would be I tend to trade up and down from support and resistance. And I get my direction from the higher time frames, and I look at where is price holding it on support and where is price failing at resistance, and where is the dominant trend, and try and trade with the dominant trend unless there's no dominant trend, and then trade within the range. So for example, here on the Aussie, it's more range bound than trending. And to be perfectly honest, if I was trading the Aussie at the moment, as I was saying before earlier in the webinar, if I had a choice, I would be looking up here at 67.98 and the 79% level here. So if I, as an example for me, if I saw price come into here and start to maybe hold on a lower time frame, I would look for, as it started to turn to short, stop above the high, then targeting down to this low or down into support down here. As I try to trade trend and structure. Okay. Thanks, Bojo. All right, so if you're coming in late, we do have some major news announcements this week. Those being primarily the US FOMC statement, Thursday early morning for me, 4 a.m. And of course, the UK interest rate decision on Thursday, and then the Japanese bank statement on Friday. So be very much aware, even though the pairs to the US dollar is selling off at the moment, moving up, they might not be after the FOMC, because they could just be simply moving up, selling the US dollar into an interest rate cut, because they're selling, because the market's selling the US dollar because of the cut. But once they cut, the market's already priced it in. So the market's pricing that cut in at the moment. So if nothing really comes out from the FOMC after that they need a price in, I can't see price moving up, because it's already been factored in. It would then have to have people would then profit take that move, which would then mean a pullback. All right, so be aware, it's not going to be easy this week. If you can't see the setup that you'd like to trade outside of a news event, the best thing is just be sitting on your hands waiting for your setup when the market can't bother you with the news. That's what I'm going to be doing this week. And if it means I can't trade this week and I'm going to have to wait to just get past it, once we get past the FOMC, then the US dollar pairs should be open then to, decide which way you want to trade. Of course, with the yen pairs, we've got the bodge on Friday, so they're very difficult until we get past that event, I think. All right, so I'll wrap it up at that. If you want to join me for more webinars this week, just head over to the webinar page. Here's the link. And we're back here tomorrow with an education webinar on candlesticks and more analysis on Thursday. Just register your interest and look forward to seeing you then. Okay, thanks everybody.